Manifestation is often treated like a project. Set the goal, visualize the outcome, take the steps, arrive. But lived experience quietly shows us something else. Life isn't responding only at the end of a process. It's responding continuously to how you're oriented in each moment, to the quality of presence you bring to desire, action, rest, and uncertainty. Manifestation isn't a switch you flip when you want something. It's an ongoing dialogue between your inner state and the movement of reality itself. When manifestation is reduced to outcomes, attention narrows. The system fixates on results, timelines, proof. Awareness drifts into projection. The body tightens around expectation. Action becomes strained. Listening decreases. Life stops feeling like a living process and starts feeling like something to manage or push. The dialogue collapses into monologue. You speak. You demand. You push. You wait. But reality is still responding, not just to what you want, but to how you're relating while you want it. Living inside this cycle shifts manifestation from outcome to orientation. Orientation isn't a thought, it's the direction of your nervous system. It's whether your system is open or braced, curious or controlling, receptive or defended as you move through the day. From this view, manifestation isn't something that happens later. It's happening now in how opportunities arise or stall, how energy gathers or dissipates, how support arrives or stays distant. Each moment is feedback. Each response from life is information. This is why manifestation functions as a relationship, not a technique. Relationships aren't controlled through force. They're shaped through attunement. When you listen, respond, pause, adjust, and stay present, the relationship deepens. Desire signals movement, but life answers with nuance. Sometimes life opens doors. Sometimes it slows things down. Sometimes it redirects entirely. These aren't rejections. They're communication. They're asking whether your system can remain available, flexible, and grounded as conditions change. When orientation replaces fixation, something subtle but profound happens. You stop measuring success only by arrival. Action becomes participation, not proof. Rest becomes part of the conversation. Uncertainty becomes information. You begin to sense when to lean forward and when to wait, when to speak and when to listen, when to move and when to integrate. Living inside the cycle means recognizing that manifestation is continuous because relationship is continuous. Reality is always responding. The question isn't whether it's answering, but whether you're oriented to hear it. When orientation stays present, the dialogue stays alive. And manifestation becomes less about getting somewhere and more about moving with life as it unfolds. Intuition is often misunderstood as a directive voice, something that tells you exactly what to do and promises results if you follow it correctly. But lived inside the cycle, intuition works differently. It doesn't command reality. It initiates a conversation. Intuition proposes a direction, a movement, an orientation. Reality responds with feedback, momentum, resistance, delay, redirection, even collapse. None of these are failures. They're replies. When intuition is treated as a command, the relationship strains. The system expects compliance from life. Desire hardens into insistence. Action becomes forceful. When reality doesn't cooperate, frustration appears, followed by doubt or renewed effort. In this posture, intuition isn't being listened to. It's being used as leverage. The nervous system tightens around the need for confirmation, and the cycle loses its fluidity. Listening restores the dialogue. Intuition proposes from within the body before language forms. It arrives as a felt sense, a pull, a curiosity, a quiet yes or a subtle no. It doesn't carry certainty about outcomes. It carries orientation, a direction that's coherent in this moment. When followed lightly, without bracing for results, it opens the next step. That step isn't the conclusion, it's the beginning of response. Reality answers through conditions, timing, capacity checks, friction points, unexpected variables. This isn't reality contradicting intuition. It's reality contextualizing it. What's proposed may be valid, but the pace, form, or scale may not yet be stable. The system is being informed, not denied. Listening means noticing what's being communicated without immediately trying to override it. When things slow down, it may signal insufficient capacity. Obstacles may reveal misalignment or weakness. Energy drops or collapse often indicate integration is needed. These aren't intellectual messages. They're somatic ones. The body is being consulted by reality itself. The shift from command to listening is a shift from domination to partnership. Instead of asking, "Why isn't this working?" the question becomes, "What is being shown?" Instead of pushing through resistance, attention turns toward understanding its function. Curiosity stays open to how intuition is being refined. In this relationship, intuition stays alive, but it matures. It stops predicting outcomes and starts tracking coherence. The dialogue becomes rhythmic. Intuition proposes, reality responds, orientation adjusts, and movement continues. Living inside this exchange requires trust, not blind trust, but trust that feedback is meaningful. It requires humility and presence, because intuition and response only meet now. Manifestation stabilizes not when intuition is obeyed absolutely, but when it's listened to continuously, when reality is allowed to answer honestly, and the system stays responsive rather than rigid. When the conversation stays open, life keeps moving. Most people move through life braced. The body stays slightly tightened. The breath held just enough. Attention angled toward control and anticipation. This bracing isn't a flaw in character or discipline. It's a protective strategy formed when outcomes start to matter for safety, belonging, or self-worth. Over time, bracing becomes normal. Effort feels responsible. Tension feels necessary. Force feels like the only reliable way forward. But living inside this cycle reveals something else. Bracing doesn't create stability, it interrupts flow. When the system is defended, it can't accurately sense timing, capacity, or feedback. Action becomes rigid. Listening fades. Even when things work, they require vigilance and pressure. Manifestation becomes something you have to hold together instead of something that moves with you. The movement from defense to flow begins when the system stops preparing for threats that are no longer present. Bracing consumes energy before action even starts. It narrows perception and reduces responsiveness. In this state, life feels like a problem to solve rather than a field to engage. Less force doesn't mean less movement, it means less tension loaded before movement is needed. When bracing softens, the body regains sensitivity. Subtle signals return: when to advance, when to pause, when to adjust. Action becomes timed, not pushed. Decisions feel cleaner because they're no longer filtered through urgency or fear. The system responds to what's happening, not what it's trying to prevent. Flow isn't passivity. It's readiness without rigidity, the ability to mobilize energy when needed and release it when it's not. In flow, effort becomes precise. Attention stays with present conditions. The system doesn't collapse without force, it reorganizes. Responsiveness means allowing life to shape action in real time without interpreting change as setback. When momentum slows, there's no immediate self-correction or judgment. The pause is allowed to inform the next move. This responsiveness preserves energy and builds capacity over time. Living without bracing changes how results are held. Success doesn't trigger hypervigilance. Progress doesn't need constant monitoring. The body stays open enough to receive what arrives without immediately trying to control it. Manifestation integrates instead of destabilizing. As defense gives way to flow, life feels less adversarial. Challenges still arise, but they're met with adaptability, not resistance. The cycle moves more smoothly because nothing is being forced faster than it can be metabolized. Living inside the cycle isn't about perfect ease. It's about reducing unnecessary tension. Less force, more responsiveness, less bracing, more contact. When the system stops defending against life, movement becomes natural again, and manifestation shifts from something you push toward into something you move with. Manifestation stabilizes when it's no longer treated as something you do, but as something you inhabit. As long as manifestation stays a strategy you apply only when you want a result, it remains effortful and intermittent. Lived inside the cycle, manifestation becomes a way of being. It isn't turned on and off. It's present in how you meet experience, move through desire, respond to challenge, and receive what arises. There's no end point to this process. Not because goals can't be met, but because arrival doesn't end the conversation. Each expansion introduces new conditions. Each integration reveals new capacity. Each stabilization becomes the platform for the next movement. When manifestation is framed as a finish line, the system braces for completion and relaxes only briefly. When it's understood as ongoing, the system learns to stay present through change, rather than collapse after it. This is where the body becomes central. The body isn't interested in outcomes. It's interested in safety. It tracks whether movement is tolerable, whether attention is grounded, whether receiving will stabilize or overwhelm. As manifestation unfolds, the body is continuously assessing, can I stay open here? Can I hold this intensity, responsibility, visibility, or flow without bracing or shutting down? The answers to these questions shape what reality can deliver sustainably. Living manifestation as a way of being means allowing the body to learn safety at higher levels of experience. Expansion isn't rushed. Success isn't chased. Growth is allowed to land and integrate. When something arrives, opportunity, connection, abundance, the system is given time to settle. This isn't delay, it's maturation. Without settling, what arrives destabilizes rather than nourishes. As inhabiting replaces doing, effort reorganizes. Action still happens, but it arises from coherence, not pressure. Intention remains without gripping the future. The nervous system orients toward regulation instead of control. Manifestation feels less like peaks and crashes and more like a steady widening of capacity. The absence of an endpoint removes constant self-evaluation. There's no moment where you must decide if you've done it right. The cycle keeps moving, offering feedback, adjustment, and integration. Setbacks lose their moral charge. Pauses lose their stigma. Over time, life stops feeling like something to master. It becomes something you're in relationship with. The body trusts movement because it's learned that safety comes from responsiveness, not control. This is manifestation as a way of being. No finish line, no final state. Just a system that stays with experience as it expands, contracts, integrates, and moves again, meeting life not through effort, but by inhabiting each moment as it unfolds.